I never expected a casual sleepover to turn my life upside down. My name's Alex, 21, a college student majoring in graphic design, but my real passion, one I rarely let anyone see, was experimenting with clothes, makeup, and styles typically reserved for women. For years, I had been exploring this secret world quietly in my room, carefully choosing outfits, testing makeup, and learning the art of transformation. It was a private thrill, a form of self-expression that made me feel alive but also terrified of being discovered. I lived with my cousin Mia, a year younger than me, bubbly, fearless, and always coming up with the kind of ideas that could either be brilliant or disastrous. Our relationship was close but playful, often teetering on the edge of mischief. She had no idea about my crossdressing hobby, though I had always suspected she might notice if I weren't careful. It was a Friday evening when Mia suggested a sleepover in the living room. Her friends were coming over, and I was invited, though reluctantly, since I often preferred solitude during these experiments. The living room was warm, cozy, and cluttered with blankets, pillows, and the soft glow of fairy lights that Mia adored. Music played in the background, laughter echoing through the apartment, and the faint aroma of popcorn and candy filled the air. I kept my excitement hidden as I grabbed a hoodie and jeans, planning to stay low-key while the girls gossiped and watched movies. But Mia, with that mischievous grin, caught my hesitation. "Come on, Alex," she teased. "Don't be such a party pooper. Just for tonight, let's make it fun." I smiled weakly, nodding, but my mind wandered to the secret stash of outfits I had tucked away in my closet. The skirts, the blouses, the carefully chosen shoes. I had always fantasized about wearing them but never had the courage outside my room. Now, surrounded by Mia and her friends, the idea seemed thrilling and terrifying all at once. As the night wore on, the girls started daring each other to do silly things, pranks, jokes, and playful dares. I stayed on the edge, laughing nervously, unsure whether to join. And that's when Mia, with a glint of mischief, turned to me with a wicked smile. "I dare you, Alex," she said, "to try on my favorite princess outfit. You'd look so cute." I froze, my heart hammering. A mix of fear, excitement, and disbelief coursed through me. Me in a skirt? In front of Mia and her friends? The thought sent shivers down my spine. But the dare wasn't just a joke. It was a challenge, one that my secret self longed to embrace. The thrill of finally stepping into that persona, even for a moment, was irresistible. I hesitated, pretending to consider it, while internally my mind raced with 1,000 what-ifs. What if they laughed? What if I ruined my image as their somewhat normal cousin? What if this tiny slip became a spectacle? And yet, the allure was magnetic. My fingers itched to unzip the small wardrobe where I had secretly kept some borrowed pieces from Mia in the past, just for practice. Mia leaned closer, her voice teasing yet encouraging. "Don't worry, it's just for fun. Everyone's doing silly stuff tonight. Come on, be our princess." Her friends giggled, eyes sparkling with anticipation, none suspecting the internal battle raging inside me. I nodded slowly, heart pounding. "Okay, just for a minute," I muttered, trying to sound casual, but my voice betrayed the flutter of nerves and excitement. I excused myself, tiptoeing to my room, where my secret stash waited. Pulling out the soft, pastel skirt, the delicate blouse, and the small tiara Mia had jokingly left behind from a costume party, I felt a rush of exhilaration. The fabric in my hands, the gentle scent of perfume lingering on the blouse, all stirred something deep within me. In front of the mirror, I started the transformation carefully, almost ceremoniously. The skirt hugged my hips in a way that felt foreign yet intoxicating. The blouse, soft and light, made me feel like I was stepping into another version of myself, bold, beautiful, and daring. The tiara perched on my head added a playful, regal touch that made me giggle nervously. I applied a hint of lip gloss, just enough to feel transformed without drawing too much attention. As I looked in the mirror, a strange mixture of vulnerability and empowerment washed over me. This wasn't just dressing up, it was stepping into a persona I had only dreamed of. a persona that, for the first time, was about to be seen outside the privacy of my room. Taking a deep breath, I stepped out into the living room. All eyes turned toward me, and the room froze for a split second. Mia's grin was wide and approving, her friends bursting into laughter, some playful, some genuinely impressed. I felt every emotion at once: embarrassment, thrill, vulnerability, and a rush of confidence that surprised me. I was their princess, their joke, their dare come to life, and yet I couldn't stop smiling. That night marked the beginning of a transformation I hadn't anticipated. The dare, meant as a simple joke, had unlocked something inside me, a bold, confident persona that would soon spiral into excitement, danger, and a new identity I wasn't ready to let go of. Little did I know, this was only the start of a journey that would challenge my fears, thrill my desires, and push me into a world where secrecy, glamour, and suspense collided. After stepping out in the princess outfit, the initial reactions were a mix of laughter, teasing, and genuine admiration. Mia clapped her hands in delight. "Oh my gosh, Alex. You actually look amazing," her friends giggled, some whispering to each other, some nudging Mia, clearly impressed. The thrill coursing through me was electric. My secret, once hidden, was now on full display, and everyone was watching. The excitement was intoxicating, but so was the vulnerability. Every glance from Mia and her friends felt like a spotlight, highlighting both the person I had been and the persona I was becoming. The soft fabric of the skirt against my legs, the gentle brush of the blouse, the playful weight of the tiara. It all made me feel different. My heart raced, not just from the dare, but from the sheer sensation of stepping into a new identity. Mia leaned closer, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "You have to dance a little, Alex. A real princess twirl." My stomach twisted, a mixture of nerves and thrill. I hesitated, feeling the gaze of everyone on me, but the playful energy in the room pushed me forward. I twirled, the skirt flaring out beautifully, and a thrill of exhilaration shot through me. For a moment, I forgot my fears, embracing the freedom of transformation. But internal conflict quickly followed. I felt exposed, every movement under scrutiny. What if they laughed at me? What if this went too far? Yet, alongside the fear, there was a strange, undeniable joy, a sense of liberation that I had never allowed myself before. The thrill of crossdressing, combined with the playful dare, was intoxicating, almost addictive. As the night progressed, Mia and her friends encouraged more dares. Each one pushed me further, testing the boundaries of my comfort. They suggested makeup, accessories, even silly walks or acting like a princess. Every suggestion was a test, a challenge that made my heart race. I felt a strange mixture of embarrassment and empowerment, the duality of my emotions reflecting the duality of my appearance. I retreated briefly to the bathroom, catching a glimpse of myself in the mirror. The reflection was astonishing. Alex, the person I had always known, stared back, but transformed. The tiara tilted slightly, the skirt swayed with my movements, and the subtle makeup highlighted features I had only ever admired privately. A shiver ran down my spine. This was more than just a costume. It was a new identity, one I felt drawn to yet terrified of fully embracing. Returning to the living room, I noticed the shift in attention. Mia's friends were curious, some whispering, some giggling, but none mocking outright. Their acceptance, even in jest, emboldened me. I experimented with poses, gestures, and expressions, testing how far I could push the persona. Each movement, each glance, was a step deeper into the role of the princess I had been dared to become. The suspense escalated when the doorbell rang. My heart jumped. Who could it be at this hour? One of Mia's parents? A neighbor? The possibility of being caught added a thrill that mingled with fear. Mia giggled, clearly enjoying the tension. Relax, Alex. Let's just see who it is. I tiptoed to the door, careful to keep my balance in the skirt, every step a test of poise. Peeking through the peephole, I saw a familiar face, my friend Jordan, someone who knew me well but had no idea about my cross-dressing adventures. Panic surged through me. What if he saw me like this? What if my secret was revealed? Mia clapped her hands, eager for me to answer. Go on, Alex. Play along. I swallowed hard, summoning courage. Opening the door, I greeted Jordan with a nervous smile. Hey, Jordan. My voice was slightly higher than usual, tinged with the persona I had embraced. Jordan's eyes widened, clearly surprised but intrigued. Wow, you look different, he said, trying to find the right words. The room held its breath. Every second felt amplified. The combination of excitement, fear, and adrenaline made my pulse race. I realized that this dare had unlocked something far more intense than I had anticipated, a life where secrecy, thrill, and identity collided. As the night continued, I navigated a complex web of interactions, balancing the playful attention from Mia and her friends with the ever-present fear of exposure. Each compliment, each teasing comment, each glance reinforced both my excitement and vulnerability. I was their princess, a persona born from a simple dare, but growing into something far more significant. By the early hours of the morning, I had fully immersed myself in the transformation. The skirt, blouse, and tiara were no longer just clothes. They were extensions of a persona I had longed to explore. I felt confidence, power, and a thrilling vulnerability all at once. Yet, beneath it all, a question lingered. How far would this go? Could I navigate the night without my secret being exposed? And once the dare ended, what would remain of this newly discovered identity? Every interaction, every glance, every whispered comment heightened the suspense. The night had become a delicate dance between self-expression, secrecy, and acceptance. I realized that this sleepover, meant to be harmless fun, had set me on a path I could not easily turn back from. The dare had backfired, not in humiliation, but in awakening something deep within me, a desire, a thrill, and a curiosity that would push me into uncharted territory. The living room had transformed into a stage. Pillows and blankets were scattered everywhere, the fairy lights casting a soft, almost magical glow. Laughter and chatter filled the air, but beneath the playful atmosphere, a tension simmered. Every glance at me, every whisper, felt magnified. I was no longer just Alex. I was the princess, the persona I had fully embraced, yet every step I took carried the weight of potential exposure. Mia leaned close, whispering, "You're killing it, Alex. Seriously, I think you were made for this." Her words, teasing yet genuine, sent a shiver down my spine. I laughed nervously, adjusting the skirt and brushing a strand of hair behind my ear. The sensation of the fabric against my skin, the subtle weight of the tiara, and the faint smell of perfume made me feel alive in a way I hadn't anticipated. But I couldn't ignore the growing anxiety, the sense that one wrong move could unravel everything. Then came the dare that would change the night. One of Mia's friends, Lily, grinned mischievously. "I dare you to walk across the apartment in heels while balancing a cup of soda without spilling it." My eyes widened. Heels? Balancing a drink? In front of everyone? My heart raced, and a surge of panic mixed with exhilaration coursed through me. This was no longer playful, it was a test of poise, control, and courage. I took a deep breath, steadying myself. The heels clicked against the floor as I took my first tentative steps. Every movement was deliberate, every sway of my hips measured. The living room seemed to stretch endlessly, the distance from couch to coffee table feeling like a runway. Laughter and encouragement from Mia and her friends filled the air, but I could feel the tension in every eye watching me. Halfway across, the cup wobbled precariously. My breath caught. The liquid sloshed dangerously close to the rim, threatening to spill. Panic surged, but I focused, steadying my hands, reminding myself of the thrill and the control I was exercising. With a final careful step, I reached the table and set the cup down without a drop spilling. Relief washed over me, mingling with exhilaration. I had passed the challenge, but the adrenaline only intensified the suspense. No sooner had I settled than the unexpected happened. The front door creaked open. My heart jumped. Who could it be at this hour? My pulse thundered in my chest as Mia's grin widened. Perfect timing, Alex, she whispered. Just when things get interesting. Through the doorway stepped my cousin's older brother, Jake, a tall, imposing figure with a knack for noticing everything. His eyes scanned the room, landing on me. The princess outfit, the tiara, the heels, and the subtle makeup, all of it screamed transformation. His gaze sharpened, a mix of surprise, curiosity, and suspicion flickering across his face. I froze, unsure whether to laugh, hide, or try to explain. Every instinct screamed at me, retreat, blend in, disappear. But the persona I had embraced refused to retreat. This was the culmination of the night, the point where fear and thrill collided. Jake raised an eyebrow, his voice calm but deliberate. Wow, didn't expect this from you, Alex. The room held its breath. Mia and her friends giggled nervously, sensing the tension spike. I swallowed hard, trying to steady my racing heart. It's just a dare, I stammered, voice trembling but tinged with defiance. Jake's expression softened slightly, a teasing smile tugging at his lips. A dare, huh? Looks like someone's having fun. But even as he spoke, I could see the calculation in his eyes, evaluating, judging, wondering how far this experiment would go. The thrill of secrecy, once a private delight, now teetered on the edge of exposure. The night continued, but every movement, every glance, felt charged with suspense. Mia suggested more dares, each one pushing me further into the persona I had grown to love. Makeup, accessories, poses. The princess identity expanded with every challenge, each moment heightening both excitement and vulnerability. I laughed, twirled, and posed, but beneath it all, a knot of anxiety twisted in my stomach. One slip, one misstep, one word out of place could shatter the delicate balance of playfulness and secrecy. Then came the symbolic moment, the final test of transformation. Mia held up a small hand mirror, her eyes gleaming. Look at yourself, Alex. Truly see the princess. I took the mirror, heart pounding. My reflection stared back. Alex, the familiar self, and the princess, confident, radiant, and undeniably captivating. The tiara was slightly askew, the skirt flared perfectly, and the subtle makeup highlighted features I had only admired in secret. The duality of who I was and who I had become stared me in the face. A gust of wind from the slightly open window caught the tiara, tipping it dangerously. I reached up instinctively, steadying it with trembling fingers. The room collectively held its breath, the suspense almost unbearable. I realized then that this was more than a dare, it was a defining moment. The persona I had embraced was no longer just a fleeting experiment. It was a part of me, and the night had revealed the depth of desire, vulnerability, and courage I hadn't known I possessed. The doorbell rang again, jolting me. Panic surged. Another visitor, another challenge to my secret? Mia grinned knowingly. Looks like the night isn't over yet, princess. Every nerve in my body tensed, the adrenaline pumping faster than ever. The combination of exposure, thrill, and anticipation made my heart pound, my thoughts spiral, and my pulse race. As the room held its breath, I realized that the dare, the transformation, and the playful night had pushed me to the edge of a new reality. I was no longer just Alex hiding behind clothes and secrecy. I was their princess, navigating a world where fear, thrill, and identity collided in ways I had never imagined. And the night was far from over. The living room was still buzzing with whispers, laughter, and the faint clink of the tiara as I adjusted it one last time. My heart was pounding, a mix of adrenaline, fear, and exhilaration. Every glance from Mia, her friends, and now Jake felt magnified, each one a reminder that the persona I had embraced, the Princess Alex, was on full display. I was exhilarated but also terrified. I glanced toward the doorway and froze. The front door was slightly ajar, and the faint sound of footsteps echoed from the hallway. My pulse quickened. Was it another cousin? A parent coming home early? The idea of being caught in this delicate, half-playful, half-real transformation sent a shiver down my spine. Mia noticed my hesitation. "Relax, Alex," she whispered, eyes sparkling with mischief. "Just go with it. You've got this." Her confidence bolstered me, and I straightened, smoothing the skirt and adjusting the tiara. But the knot of anxiety in my stomach refused to ease. Then I heard a voice I didn't expect. "Alex." It was Emma. My breath caught. How had she come back so early? The playful night had just turned into a test of nerves, secrecy, and identity. I froze, unsure whether to run, hide, or confront the situation. My mind raced. What if she saw me like this? Would she laugh, judge, or walk away? Every possibility spiraled in my head, each one more terrifying than the last. My hands trembled slightly as I clutched the tiara, the soft fabric of the skirt brushing against my legs, reminding me of the transformation I had embraced so fully. Mia's friends exchanged anxious glances. The energy in the room shifted, from playful excitement to tense anticipation. Jake stepped closer, shielding me subtly but also observing, his expression unreadable. The suspense was almost unbearable. I took a tentative step forward, trying to steady my racing heart. "Emma, hi," I stammered, voice a mix of my usual tone and the slightly higher, playful inflection I had adopted as the princess persona. Emma paused, her eyes widening as they took in the sight. The skirt, the blouse, the tiara, the subtle makeup that highlighted features I had long admired in secret. She opened her mouth and then paused again, the room holding its collective breath. Mia whispered, barely audible, "Princess Alex, you've got this." But I wasn't so sure. The fear of judgment collided with a thrill of revelation. For the first time, my dual life, the secret identity and the everyday Alex, stood face to face with the one person whose opinion mattered most. Emma's expression softened, a hint of amusement mixed with curiosity. "Alex, you really went all out," she said slowly, a teasing smile tugging at her lips. My pulse raced even faster, unsure whether relief or dread would follow. Just as I opened my mouth to respond, a loud crash came from the kitchen. A tray of snacks had fallen, sending plates and cups clattering to the floor. The sudden noise broke the fragile moment, and all eyes turned toward the sound. The tension spiked, the suspense peaking. I realized then that this night, meant as a simple sleepover dare, had become a turning point. My secret identity, my thrill of transformation, and the reactions of everyone around me were now entangled in a web of uncertainty. The adrenaline, fear, and exhilaration surged through me, leaving me on edge, caught between exhilaration and dread. And then the doorbell rang again. The room fell silent. Every head turned. Mia's friends exchanged nervous glances. Jake's expression was unreadable, and I felt my heart lurch. Who could it be this time? Another challenge? Someone who might expose my secret? I took a deep breath, clutching the tiara tightly, feeling the fabric of the skirt against my legs. The world seemed to hold its breath alongside me. In that moment, I understood that this was only the beginning. The dare had backfired spectacularly, not in humiliation, but in opening a door I might never be able to close. The camera of a phone I hadn't noticed, lit up in Mia's hand, capturing the scene. The glow reflected in my eyes, showing two versions of me. Alex, the person I had always been, and the princess, radiant and daring. And just like that, the screen cut to black.